Good afternoon. I just need to note a few things for myself. I've been home an hour from, oh my God, I'm so tired. I just got home from Ironman Arizona. It's Monday, November 25th, 2019. I worked VIP. I had never worked VIP at a full Ironman race before. To be 100% honest, I was dreading race day because of the fact that due to the nature of our VIP program within Ironman, it is quite literally, I knew it was going to be at least a 21-hour day, probably closer to, 21, 22, 23-hour day. And very consciously and with, full awareness of what I was doing, I booked my flight out of town at 6 a.m. the day, basically I got done working right before 2 a.m. this morning. My roommate also was on the same shift, different part of the race. And we're both middle-aged women. And oh my God, even what happened in the hotel room, she read a verse that I just couldn't even believe. Neither one of us could believe how appropriate it was based on just what, if you can imagine what you would feel after doing anything for work and thinking that you could be paid enough and call it healthy and balanced to regularly. Now, I'm not talking about, the folks that do the race and the families, and it's a very long day for everybody. I'm not talking about, challenging yourself to that and doing it once every couple of years or even once a year. But when you choose to do it for a job, and all of us have various levels of needs for that choice, you got to examine that. At least I have to examine that. And clearly the woman with whom I've been working, for 5 seasons now, and she's slightly younger than me. I'm about to be 44 in 2 weeks. I think she's 43. And I kind of felt like the reality of the choice we keep making year in and year out, we were sort of both evaluating it at a similar place this morning. So all to say, I got back to the room. She was climbing into bed, but I was getting up at 4 a.m., which was 2 hours later, less than 2 hours later. And I still needed to shower and sort of put my bag together. So I slept about, an hour and a half, and I really don't think, I probably ended up sleeping maybe 45 minutes because it's kind of hard to force yourself to calm down from being on go for 23 straight hours. I got up at 3:25 and I went to bed at 2:18. So almost exactly 23 hours. And then I got up at 4, caught 2 flights and an Uber ride home. And I've been home about an hour. So I'm processing. I want to note, so that's what caused me to hop up, grab the recorder, because there's a couple things I want to note. And what triggered this was watching Saturday's Shri and Kira show. Shri and Kira are my greatest spiritual influences. The greatest of, I've always said that, I'm not big on seeking a lot outside yourself. I mean, there's a place for seeking stuff outside yourself. But I believe that these times for folks that are on a conscious spiritual journey, it's finding and developing the master within. We all are masters. If you're in form, in human body on this planet at this time, you're a master. You're a master. All of us, every single person, even the people who don't believe that they're here in any of this, mumbo jumbo, new age, hippy dippy, airy fairy shit. They're everybody that's in form on this planet is, this is not grade school. We just have different levels of awareness and remembrance of that fact. And so I'm watching Saturday's program. It was funny. I tried to watch a little bit of it yesterday. I was pretty slow in VIP. I was still on my feet, didn't sit all day. I mean, I had the opportunity to, but I don't sit really well, especially in this role, because I also very much felt guilty and struggled with not doing more physically. This is not an easy environment to come into the softer. It's not an easy environment. I cannot be my complete person without it causing me as Alyson, myself, just where I'm at, and that's what's so beautiful about this example. And I'm sorry, I know this is bouncing all over the place, but I just was so beautifully triggered to turn this on with Shri and Kira's show, because all along I've been listening to these guys. For me, are just dead on with their energy reads. I have been right with them for over 9 years now. And they are coincidentally, not accidentally, not, I don't believe in coincidences. So synchronistically, I'm going to Ecuador to meet them in person for the first time, and to go to their facility for a spiritual retreat. 12 people were allotted to go, and I was the 12th person to book. I pulled the trigger. I've wanted to see them since they lived in Guatemala. Then they moved to Uruguay, and I finally pulled the trigger. And I knew I couldn't go until, one, I was more ready and just at a higher frequency myself with, and two, for me, that was indicated in the density world, in Alyson's world, on the money side. Oh my God. In that whole dimension, Jesus, oh my God. Breathe, Alyson. I just want to make sure here. I wanted to get down first the highlights of the day yesterday, the highlight conversation. I just want to drop some facts here. Again, mostly for myself. Because I maintain I'm not living this story accidentally. I'm living this story for far beyond the character of Alyson, but the character of Alyson, the soul of Alyson, is very much still growing and developing her spiritual mastery. And boy, in essence, that is dancing through the ego. We're in the density world. The mainstream world is an ego-based, personality-based, human-based, money-based, all these systems-based world. And I'm trying to be through and through this conduit of just love, of just connectedness, of just all of us, just this innate knowing we're all connected, wanting to help everybody, wanting everybody around me to thrive. Certainly the people closest to me. And for most of us, the people that we're closest to are the people that we work with, simply due to the number of hours that we spend together. I don't want to have to. I've been fighting, so before I turned Shri and Kira on, the first realization that came to me was I've just been fighting that the Ironman world, the way it currently is, which is just intense and very fast-paced and very big and very just, I'm not able to thrive. I'm not able to be anywhere near the best version of me within that world, because within that world I'm working. And within that world, I'm not just working 8 hours a day and then I have time. I'm working, like I said, I just worked a 23-hour shift. And I drastically, in the positive, affected people's lives yesterday within that world. Which is what Ironman claims as a company, as an image, all that stuff. And again, I don't want to get into, this is what's so tricky about this. And I really feel like I'm understanding more right now. It's a highly specialized audience, but it's helping me kind of rise higher, surrender more. And that is anybody who follows Shri and Kira and sort of their language, and just anybody who's been following them for any amount of time, I swear it's like I'm using their language, but it's not their language. It's coming from spirit. And I have got this like insane real life example through which I'm working. This insane dance between ego and spirit. But it's not between, it's because I don't want the energy as I discuss it to be separatist. I don't want it to be anything that's judgy. And it's the finest line I've ever had to toe. I just don't want to admit that basically, I keep getting full-time offer, and I'm like, no. And really, if I said it succinctly, you are not anywhere near a company that deserves me. Not on the outside. The outside, you got people that are free advertising for this company. But I'm on the inside, and I'm not on the inner inside. But because I've now been there for 5 seasons and watched so many people that I call friends, that I called friends, while we were sharing our time together in that world, leave this company. I know too much. I've seen too much. And I'm not naive enough to think, one, I'm not trying to judge it. I'm just trying to be real and honest with the other people within it who are experiencing it. And what's blowing my mind is oh God, I don't have words for it yet. I just don't have words for it. All I know is that it's so similar to when I finally got to the realization with my ex, who, by the way, still is on my mind all the time. 11 months tomorrow we've been broken up for good, 11 months. And my heart still aches for him and us. But this is the exact feeling. I wanted to be with him so badly. But being with him hurt me. And I tried to communicate what I needed for me. And I'm just never even given that opportunity. I'm never heard. And in many cases, I'm not even given the opportunity to speak my voice, to just say my piece. And it's never a judgment. It's just to share my experience. And that's exactly where I am with Ironman. I am not, it's like in the game of hierarchy, in the game of the mainstream world, it's hard to get lower than I am on the totem pole, on the hierarchy. I do the grunt work, man. Garbage. Like I kind of always come back to the fact that for the 3rd year in a row, I was on the expo team, and not just for me, for all of us, for a significant portion, and really because I'm the only contractor on that team. And so they all have their real, quote unquote, real jobs to do. A contractor, I place myself a notch below because it's how they treat their full-timers. And their full-timers have it's different. Yet we're there experiencing the same race, the same events. I don't want to say the same thing because everyone's experience is unique to them. But my role places me especially in Kona. Oh my goodness. The head person in Kona, I've never even met that person. She wouldn't know me from Adam. She doesn't have any, I don't register on her radar at all. And see, that right there is very challenging for me because I just can't exist in a world where a team is a team. We're on the same team. And I'm sorry, I'm going all over, but I digress. I came back on the Kona team because during the week I'm okay because I want to ease the full-timers' job. They are just worked to the bone. So I kind of feel obligated to make their job as easy as possible when I'm there. So I want them to use when Expo's up and running and all we pretty much have to do is maintain garbage. Checking in on vendors and garbage. On the lower end, our manager who's there, he's got other responsibilities. But the rest of the team, we had a lot more going on off site of the expo this year. But the vast majority of like a good 4 days is garbage. And I take it upon myself to take the brunt of that and try to give the other folks time to work on their other events. Because at any given time, they've got 4 or 5 events going in planning stages. Let alone, like, it's just insane. So when you've had garbage duty, and that's, I'm grunt girl, and I'm not seen in my woman power. I am grunt girl. Yeah, I'm a badass, and yeah, I can hang with the guys, but I'm sitting here trying to come into that world as a balanced woman. For me, Alyson, unique to Alyson. And there's not room for that side to be received, to be heard, to be expressed, because I'm so ingrained. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Overall, it's the energy. And I'm trying to give individuals who are in positions of decision making the opportunity to hear why I'm not accepting a job. Now, granted, it's not been like, no one's asking, well, why won't you accept it? They're assuming that, but therein lies some of the most salient, energetic thing to me that's crazy that I hesitate to say because I don't want to make this any us versus them. But it's such a guy thing. And what I've learned and what my ex helped reveal to me, they're so assuming. Most of the men all the men in my life have just been, they're just assuming. They think they know you better than you know you most of the time. Hell, most of them think that my full-time pursuit was the farm. Which, if anybody had ever stopped to ask, no. I went into almost 6 figures of debt 7 years ago. On Friday, it will be 7 years. For my dream, my vision. I had a plan, my plan. I did that. And I'm on the other side of that. And it's time to step into that. And it's just amazing to me because, as I mentioned in the segment that I released to the public of my recording prior to going to this race 5 days ago, I had a couple of informal meetings, and I did have those too. I saw one of them that I thought could turn into a meeting and a very, very, very positive interaction, but didn't go further, which, again, I had no expectation of any of these higher opportunities, I'm going to call them, going anywhere. But I needed an energy read. And the other one, all that was needed to be said was said, in the fact that nothing was said. I got a fist pump. And sort of uncomfortable avoidance from someone to whom I had sent, someone that I've known since 2006. Not very well. Not in outside of work at all. Don't know this person well. He doesn't know me well at all. He doesn't know me. But I've known him since 2006, and he's the reason I'm in the company. He's the reason I'm there. He's a huge reason that I'm there. He is literally the one that presented the original role to me. I've put in 5 seasons. I haven't had a one-on-one conversation with him. And again, I'm a contractor. And I know he is hugely busy like everybody else. But I just wanted 30 minutes. I didn't even ask for how much time yet. I just sent an email. And again, I really didn't have any expectations. I had hopes, but no expectation that anything was going to come of it, which is why I made the decision that I did to pursue with my contract for 2020 the way that I am. And I'm purposely being nebulous here. Or nebulous might not be the right word, because I'm purposely being vague and not releasing all the specifics. And I'll get back to what caused me to turn this on, which were the best highlights and the best conversations yesterday. But even as I'm turning this on, I'm sitting here going through yesterday, like I'm almost going through it backwards, because, oh my God, this conversation with this one woman was just amazing. Oh my God. I just had a few incredible connections with people. And this woman started the conversation. See, I was in charge of handling our 24 medal packages, all the communications and tracking of our 24 athletes that have significant others that have paid, in my opinion, kind of a ridiculous amount of money to be able to go into the finish line chute to put a medal around their athlete's neck. Another reason why my body and why my spirit and why my one cat I know who picks up on the depths of my energy and reflects it back to me. And that's been a really interesting, another segue of a story, but with Peanut. I am convinced now that that's exactly what's going on. That little kitty and I am so damn connected deep to the souls and the beings of these cats in very, very, very different ways. Shadow's at my feet right now as I lay in bed because I'm gonna crash. I'm exhausted. Shadow's at my feet purring away. And Peanut just won't have anything to do with me. She's just still so upset with me. She's been so upset with me for these past 5 months since, really having the brunt of my Ironman season. And this woman, so basically what that means is we, ahead of time, we get all the phone numbers for all the people that are going to be going into the finish chute. And trust me, it was one of the reasons that the day and again, another bounce here, I was shocked that I wasn't more tired. And I know it was simply because the excitement of truly being fucking done for this season was finally setting in. I mean, I was now into a single day left, finally, when it looked so interminable, when I knew I just had to, oh God, you're bouncing so much, just record, get back. One of the reasons the day didn't, and I had never experienced this. I mean, I've worked, my girl in Tennessee and we worked a good 21-hour day, 22-hour day, that rates too, and legitimately a good deal of it was physical. I mean, I think that morning we had walked 10 miles by like 10 a.m., 9 a.m. So, oh my God, that was a brutal race as well. But I definitely sat down a few times. I mean, not much. We did not rest much that day, but more than I did yesterday. I didn't sit down. I don't think I sat down for more than 5 minutes total in the entire day. And the keeping track of all these athletes out on the course, and we have an Ironman tracker that does it for us, but just utilizing the tracker and keeping track of all them. Once the finisher started, an age group man finished before the first pro female by like 2 minutes. So once that, and that was at 3:30, right before 3:30. So from 3:30 to 12:30, we had finishers. I was dreading hearing "you are an Ironman" 2,000 times. We had 2,682 athletes pick up their packets. I don't know what the start number at the line was, because inevitably there are always people that pick up that do not race. So we probably started something like 2675, 2670, something like that. And I don't know how many DNF'd. Probably at least another 50, 75, maybe probably 50, 75 DNF'd. So we're talking 2,500 times-ish hearing you are an Ironman. I definitely wasn't looking forward to that, and I was shocked yesterday how it just sort of became background noise, and I really focused more on the music playing all day. And I mean, it was amazing, because I remember visiting the VIP tent when I'm working Expo for like an hour or two in the evenings when we don't have much to do but just wait for the event to end, back when I was working Expo more. And I would just be like, I don't want to say I would hate it, but it's so loud, and I'm in my world, I hate the crowds and the masses and oh my goodness, so it's so different than my world. So I don't know, there was an interesting ability that I just kind of rose above that part of it, focused on the music, and just really focused on the part of working VIP that I love, which is connecting to the people. And I was thrilled when my boss for the weekend, the woman that had planned the event and who was in charge of it, I was at her disposal. Whatever she wanted to do, I'm at her full disposal. And when she said, if you could, can you concentrate on tracking and texting everybody and just kind of fun, and I'll stay in the chute. I was thrilled, because I don't hate being in the chute. Well, I don't really need to be in the chute. I don't really enjoy it. I don't hate it, but I don't need to be in the finish line chute. Again, I can work and really, some of them are very emotional, and I definitely, when I'm there with the people, with the families, I am able to get through their perspective and get very excited for their people. But it's, like I said, it's this constant game of focus of my energy and trying to learn how to focus it and where to focus it in order to survive, these events. And in knowing that I was in this last year of surviving, that I'm done with this surviving. Somehow I've ended up back where I'm barely surviving, and in a work relationship where clearly no one wants to take the effort to ask me what I need from it. And again, then part of me is like, you're so ridiculous. Like, did you forget what you're playing in? Like, that's just how it is. You know this. That's why you're not in that world. It's not a judgment. It's not intended to be a judgment on it at all. It's just a realization of what it is. Like, the corporate world is big. It's busy. There's just not a lot of room for, hey, let me stroke. And it's not stroking Alyson's ego. It's learning who Alyson is, to see how Alyson is growing through this opportunity and using this opportunity very consciously to grow, with every desire to bring even more to the Ironman side. It's not, that's the whole point. It's like, I just want to bring more to I want to bring value. The last time I was leaping into this, it's so funny. The last time I did this is when I did it naively, and I left, and I didn't have a job. I quit all jobs. Not only did I quit all jobs, but the risky way that I invested in the vision. And I knew what I was doing. And I knew how risky it was. But I just don't think the right decision this next time around is to, I'm trying to demonstrate maturity here. All the other times, as soon as I would reach this point with a job, I'd just leave. I wouldn't even try to express what I needed. This is the new thing. This is like the kid part of Alyson, and this goes all the way back to the dynamic in my family, like growing up in a divorced family, and then when they remarried, and nobody asked me. 17 years old when they got remarried. 17 years old. 16 when they started dating again, my parents. And nobody asked me, after relying on me emotionally as a child and being way beyond my years as a kid, helping to take care of my mom emotionally, my brothers, and the home when my parents split up the first time, and my dad, like, did I not earn the respect to be treated like an adult when I'm actually about to become an adult? And again, my parents didn't do this on purpose. But what I'm trying to explain and demonstrate, and this just triggered that I had that conversation with one of these volunteers. Oh, how could I forget? Oh, okay, Alyson, don't go in the stories now. Just drop the points here. The one volunteer who lost her oldest son in Iraq, who is from California. The other volunteer who has a full-time job and has 8 kids, aged 14 to 24. And I asked her what inspires her to volunteer like this. She goes, just to give back. And this woman was amazing. The state senator from the state of Arizona that raced. And her significant other, was added to our medal list. Now, we didn't have to handle that significant other. We didn't have to handle escorting them into the finish line. But we, that was, my best conversations were with a woman, I think her name was Jacqueline, whose boyfriend, it wasn't her husband, because they had different last names. And now that I'm thinking of what his last name was, even that's not a coincidence. But his last name was Wright. Her first name was Jacqueline. I don't remember her last name, and his last name was Wright. And I don't have the list with me. I threw him out in the hotel room last night, so I don't remember, but she inquired. She goes, and she even said her age. She's in her mid-50s. This woman was so awesome. She had this beautiful scarf on. Her boyfriend finished it was late. It was probably 10:30. Late just because I still had a ton of gas in the tank, and we had this great conversation. And I'll just say what she asked. And she goes, she goes, I'm very curious. She goes, how do the women feel coming across the finish line being called Iron Man? Oh my God. So I'm going to leave that one at that, even for myself. And then I want to drop a note on the conversations I had with the security guards. I had a lot of conversation with the one guy that started at noon, and then the sweet older lady who came in as an addition probably 4 hours later, 5 hours later, and she ended the night. It was amazing. Like these two, and they were our security at the entrance to our VIP tent. And oh my God, great, just spectacular conversations. And then they connected me. Well, so we had this older gentleman. I presume they were father and daughter, but I'm not sure, from Canada, who they asked me, they had a question for the security guards and security. So I came outside of our VIP area to chat with these folks, and I was so flustered at first because the guy just kept saying something about New Zealand, the professional in New Zealand. I'm like, I don't follow the sport. I know some of the bigger names, of course. Heather Jackson and Rennie and Tim. And I know some of the bigger names, but I don't follow the sport. I don't know how roll down works still to this day. I definitely don't know, their race schedules and who won in New Zealand and all of that. So the father, and he was my dad's age. He was, definitely in his 70s, and, is inquiring about New Zealand. Well, anyway, turns out these guys are Canadian. And oh my goodness. And by the end of our conversation, they're asking they want to keep tabs on my work. So I'm looking at this woman's email today. She just sent me an email with all her contact information right there, and I just, again, shaking my head. No accidents, no coincidences, Alyson. What do you want to bring back here? What do you want to focus on as you really shift? Like you're shifting. And back, kind of relating it to what Sri and Kira are talking about right now. Sri and Kira are talking about, and again, everything they talk about comes from spirit, comes from the angelic realm, and right now their group that they're communicating, Kira is receiving messages from, is called the Divine Masters. And so their information is, oh god, that choice point. We're at a big choice point. And they were starting to say, like, even a week ago, but don't, and it's so vague because it's so unique. But it's, everyone's at a choice point. So, and when you're kind of on the journey, you're like, man, and if you're not, I don't want to say quite yet at their level, but because it's not about like the hierarchy or being better than, but like flowing. I mean, we're at all of us are at different stages, and we flirting with these, and that even relates to how they're talking about the timelines. We're jumping these timelines, and in certain timelines, I think we're living a higher level of our mastery than other timelines. And I have definitely slipped back down into timelines where I am not at my mastery, simply because I'm choosing to put myself through things that are not enjoyable, and committing to things that do not really see me, value me, or appreciate me. Now, the most immediate, my 20-something-year-old managers appreciate me, but thank you very much, I'm a 44-year-old woman, and I've been trying like hell to communicate with some of the 40-somethings in the company who know me, and who've known me for 5 years, and who respect my work tremendously. Many of whom I think are happy when they see me on that I'm going to be at their event. And what they claim, and I am really good in a hyper-focused way, really good at what they claim. The individual, in every athlete, our athletes are our customers. Now, when I work Expo, I would also say our partners and our vendors should be our customers equally to our athletes. And that's one of the first things I'm looking to express to somebody. In terms of what I'm observing and experiencing, all I want is for Ironman to do better and to be better. But I can't talk to the 20-somethings. I need to be talking to, but I can't seem to find anybody that wants to, give me that time for one reason or another. And again, I respect that. And I just knew that this season and this race were going to kind of be the one-all final chance, just like I did at the farm with Bill. Bill, I've got a plan, man. And I've had you over at my house with other senior employees. We have taught, but unless Bill sees it, he's the owner. I can't do anything. And, I'm sorry. I kind of thought as a business you want to stay open. And now in Bill's case, that's a whole different tangent, right? But that taps into a little bit more that I really thought I was part of something that was more than just a business. And when it became revealed that it was just a business, holy shit. That was the whole farm shit that I had to go through this fall. That obviously is still not entirely released and made peace with, because holy shit. I can expect this in the Ironman world, but in the farm world, you guys are portraying yourselves to be different than the regular world, when all that ended up being was just another person, another business owner, whatever the level is, that I'm trying to say here, this is a two-way street, businesses. This is a two-way street from the people that pay my check. You don't have me by the cojones anymore, and I'm not, or my ovaries. Well, I still have my ovaries. Just because I was starting to use a guy term, right? Got you by the balls. Like, the employers have most employees by the balls. I'm girls, it got me by the ovaries. No, I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to fall into that. And, because that's how they treat you if they don't give you an opportunity to express your unique needs. You're going to just plug me into a system? I'm a human fucking being. I'm different than the other people doing this job. I'd like to be treated like a unique individual. And clearly, and I'm saying, I'm sorry. I know the corporate world is faster and bigger and all those things, but I'm sorry. There's still room to treat people like individual people and not like numbers. You want me at your races. I am positively affecting these people I'm getting hugs from complete strangers at every race. I work VIP. They are strangers to me when I meet them. And I get multiple hugs from many of them, not just one or two. I probably get like, I'm parting ways with hugs with a half dozen strangers by the end of the day. But I'm done trying to pretend like they need me more, that I need them more than they need me. Sorry. I don't need this. I don't need a 23-hour shift with 1 hour of sleep, a 9-hour travel day, and now at least a day to recover before I can get, like, I made a chunk of money and it really wasn't that hard. But those VIPs pay a shit ton. And I am directly affecting, along with my team. But I was the one primarily, like, communicating with these folks. I did all the check-in, and I was doing all the communication. They were standing with me at the, like, all day, all week. So I'm done pretending like I need you and that paycheck. Now, right now, the fact of the 3D world is I do. But that's why this year is so important. That's why it was so big to ask my mom. I haven't asked my dad yet for a little help this year financially, which is not easy. And that brings my family circle. Like, there's so many interweaving stories. And it also helps explain why I had all this nervous energy when I released that latest video on my YouTube channel. I remember watching it on the plane the first time and immediately identifying those 9 minutes. I'm like, this is it, this 9 minutes. But then I started to feel like the last 3 minutes. I should have cut it to the last 3 minutes. And then, I don't know, there's one woman on the Ironman circuit who's a contractor, who's older, who's just beautiful. I've actually done some recordings referencing her. She knows who she is, who's a subscriber to my channel. And I don't know if she's a subscriber to my channel, but she's a she's a fan of my Facebook page, I believe. And that means that she gets, and I posted this on my Facebook page. I don't do that I'm trying. Anyway, she watches all my videos, and she always sends me a text after she's watched them, and she doesn't send, it's not very long, and we don't talk in depth, but the feeling I get is that she's still, like, I always feel, it's just interesting. There's something that's still, I'm not standing, because I'm still coming across in a way that I'm not intending, and I know I can't control how everybody else receives it, but I'm having a hard time explaining. I just know it's not flowing yet. It's not flowing in the way that it's truly coming from spirit. I'm still really doubting. I know I'm not about money and my ego, but I'm still really doubting talking about what I've done, because there are the aspects of it are so clearly being, like, almost like hyper, like, self-absorbed through the story of Alyson. And the biggest idea I have, Ripple. I've changed the name. It was born and birthed as the Volt. Well, it hasn't been birthed yet. The name I thought it was going to have is Evolt. And Evolt, we'll use Evolt somewhere else, I'm sure. But Ripple is the new name I'm working with for the project of all projects. Now, I actually was talking to the security guard who was in school to become a history teacher. And then, I don't know, he never finished the story because, obviously I was working, so we kept getting interrupted. But he had a minor in history, so then his advisor just advised him to major in history. But then he stopped because this was an educated dude, man. This was not, and again, see, there I get called out, I call out my own judgment. But I know I'm not like that, but the masses, do you know how many people probably just walk past and ignore, like the caterers and the security guards, and, our caterer actually told me that a number of our VIPs were really rude to her catering team the whole day. I didn't personally witness that, but she has no reason. She has an MBA, because she and I exchanged a few words about just the struggle of, like, being taken seriously, and being respected as an equal. I'm not trying to compete with anybody. I'm not trying to be better. I'm trying to be respected as an individual and an equal. Oh, man. So I think I got everything. Oh, and then the story of all stories. That brings me back to the whole story of Rinny. I never know how to say. How do I say her name? Mirinda Carafai? See, that's how much I don't follow the sport. She's like the top. Well, she's a little bit older now. There's definitely some other pros. Like Heather Jackson's probably one of the top three. Rennie's still up there though, and Rennie's husband. They're this amazing power triathlon couple, and they're beautiful, beautiful. They're beautiful, beautiful. Long story short, they race St. Anthony's, both of them. And St. Anthony's, oh my God, there's just so many not accidental things. St. Anthony's, I was at one of the after parties and I don't follow the sport, so I had no idea who Rennie was. And they showed up at the after party where back in the day we used to have a pretty decent after party, and a lot of the staff, it would be huge, and a lot of the pros would come as well. And it's an Olympic distant triathlon, so I don't know how many. And some of the, I mean, a lot of the pros I think focus on certain distances, but obviously if you can do a full, you can do any distance, less than that. So Rennie and Tim I think they had both raced, but I didn't know who she was. I didn't know, because at that time these parties were so big that there were a lot of people from the hospital. Again, I'm a contractor. I only work, even though I've been working St. Anthony's for now 17 years, I don't know a lot of the people from the hospital. I don't like to play that. That's not my game. I'm not comfortable in that. So Rennie sits down and I find out she's Australian. I have no idea, who she even is. And boy, she shares a story that I remember to this day. She probably doesn't remember sharing it with me, but she could have no idea how important that story was. She was a basketball player, and I was a basketball player. She talked about when she was 18 years old, if I'm remembering correctly. She was basically she made the switch to triathlon, and it was I remember her saying to me, it was kind of like I never really got to show what I could do on a basketball team because she's not much taller than me, maybe 5'3", 5'4". She's no taller than, I don't think she's taller than 5'4", which, for women's basketball, 5'4" is not, it's taller than 5 feet. I'm 4'11" and 3/4. And, I had a year plus at Division I before that experience overwhelmed me and bowled me over, and with me only now understanding a lot more what was going on at that time and why I was unable to handle that. But what a powerful metaphor for me, what a powerful real life conversation. And again, no coincidence that I had this conversation with her, and this was way before I was a contractor with Ironman, and now here I am, and that's how I feel. It's like my whole life I've never really it's funny. It's like part of what I think I'm coming into the Ironman, it's like to kind of, it's because it's founders, it's very individual. It's very individual, but the irony is that it takes a team to operate on the ground. But you got a bunch of individual, but at so many levels, there's so many layers, because most of the people on the ground are not triathletes. However, compared to when I started 5 seasons ago, there are way more employees that have done halves and fulls than when I first started. So there's, but the energy of that world is very individual, and the team aspect is still, supporting each other as individuals, not acting as a team. And what that means in action, when you're in action and trying to engage. And I'm not trying to judge, I'm not trying to be better, I'm just stating the obvious. Triathlon is an individual sport. There are triathlon teams, and obviously there's support going on in the team framework, but the energy of how people interact when you play a team sport is similar to when you act in a play, or if you're an actor and you're acting with other energies and interacting, or when you're jamming with a band. It's very different than if you're just playing solo, than if you're just doing a monologue. It's different. But there's a huge team aspect to the Ironman world from the employee side, from the operational side. And that all blends into the way the whole company operates as a corporation. And all I'm saying is there's some pretty big gaps. And if you approach it like athletes approach it, there's just some rooms for improvement. And I feel like I've got a pretty unique perspective, and I'm not a fucking idiot. And, I just wanted an opportunity. One, I just wanted an opportunity to first, let alone, okay, I give it to you. I'm this like little peon, who doesn't, admittedly, I haven't played the business corporate game. I got out of that right. My first job was that, and then I got laid off, and I never went back to the formalized corporate world. So I'm not saying I have the direct experience within that world, but I am an intelligent person who can appreciate that world. But there's a lot of room for improvement. But set that aside. Set all that aside. In the immediate interest and need was I needed to stick up, and I wanted an opportunity to be able to negotiate to stay on the Expo team. And I wasn't even given the opportunity. And the opportunity was simple. Take the full-time job. Well, I don't want the full-time job. And one, I would love to express to you why, but it's going to be kind of hard to hear, right? Now, I can express it a little bit more to the 20-somethings, but the 20-somethings don't have any real power. The higher 4-somethings don't have a ton of power in the company either, but they've got more than the 20-somethings. And I just wanted a shot. And there were multiple people in multiple ways as I tried to, that I sent communication to, that just never responded. So, okay, cool. And I've seen these people now. And again, I hold, no expectation, but I'm not going to be a fucking idiot here and continue to bust my ass at my own detriment when I'm a grown-ass woman saying this is not good for me. And I am good for your company. You want me on the ground. You want me interacting with the partners. You want me interacting with the vendors. And you want me interacting with your athletes. That is my strong point. I've proved myself physically. I'm not doing the physical. And to be in that world and not be valued unless you're doing the physical and the insane, that's what's frustrating. They don't even see VIP as valuable. They don't see Expo as valuable. So I've been busting my ass trying to understand, well, what is seen, what is valued, who and what is the energy that merits being able to negotiate, like to being able to have a say for themselves. The energy, whatever that is it the energy of the role, the energy of the department, or the energy of the individual? And again, if other people have found ways to thrive and to serve themselves, that's fantastic. I don't want to take that away. Can somebody just let me in? Like, what is it? And that therein lies one of the, it's just a muddled, there is no clear, it's, I don't know. And that's why I have to just see the writing on the wall, just like I did at the farm, just like I did it with my ex. They don't care. They can't care. It's not saying that they don't want to care, but okay, don't be an idiot. They got a lot on your plate, and you don't make the top 10. You don't make the top 20. You don't make the top 30 priority, whatever. Okay, well, I'm not going to take it personally, but fuck. Now you're going to make it where you're not going to treat me like an individual. It is all about the dollar. Well, I'm going to go after the best fucking dollar deal I can get. And I'm going to go and I'm going to be fantastic in what I do. I'm going to be as much me as I can in that. I'm going to do as little as I can get away with in this year. And my hope is, and I am not sure, I feel like I'm going to have to be a little bit more confirmed, solid in this, and almost vow I'm coming out of this in 2021 unless I get approached to do, I don't know. I got to work on myself, and that would be just for me. I'm not trying to throw down, and threaten anybody. This is to take care of me. Ultimately, I'm negotiating this for myself. And obviously I'm negotiating with myself because no one else, and that's not entirely true. Like I said, my two managers I love those guys. I love these guys. And one's his hands are completely tied. And the other one, he did, oh my God. I got the whole schedule and said, pick what you are my top contractor. You get first choice for the whole year. What? Holy shit. I'm not going to follow that. Sorry. And if you guys want to call me a Benedictine, okay, fine. But I'm going to stand up and say I'm not that at all. I want to stay on that team, but I need to be doing different work. And I've got capabilities that can help this company, but guess what? You're going to have to like give me a chance and actually see me as an equal to hear anything I have to say. And clearly no one sees me that way, and that's okay. So here we go. Day 1 of take 2, and getting back to thriving and out of the surviving energy shit begins tomorrow. New moon. We just got a lot of drop points. Oh, God. And the comfort. Oh, God. That was an amazing, hard exchange, but so beautiful. These guys come to me. They feel safe coming to me. It's the second event in a row. Well, no. The last time this happened was in Kona, where one of the younger guys and one of the younger women came to me last night, and she received horribly sad news during the event. And she's like, can I talk to you? It was just, and I just was, I can't tell you what it means that I can be there for them like that. I can't tell you what it means. I'm not much older than some of these guys' parents. I can't tell you what that means. And I had one of those interactions last night as well. And I didn't think I did anything right, because all I did was just hold space for this. She's so beautiful. So many levels. And she's like, I just can't tell you how much you helped me. Just by being able to tell. She received horrible news during this event in like hour, 18, 19 of the day for all of us. And she felt safe enough to come to me to seek some comfort. So, you know what? I fucking nailed my job. I did my job, and I did so much more that is of value of that company. And I see it, and I'm clearly the only one I'm the only one on the like I said, in terms of being able to give that more value, and not because I want to put a dollar sign on it, but that your company needs that. Your company desperately needs help, Ironman, in knowing how to keep employees. That is a fact. You guys have tremendous turnover, and I'm not a traitor to state the fact, because I keep losing these great people that I want to keep working with. I'm there because of the people, and they keep disappearing, and I can't blame them one freaking second, and they don't have a voice. And I'm trying to be that voice, because I'm definitely have less to lose than they perceive themselves, because a lot of them, they're in that game of the resume and the job. I mean, they don't want to get fired. They don't want to say the wrong thing to the wrong person. Me, I just don't get a contract renewed. Or even after I sign a contract, I know there's an exit clause. If I get a signed contract and I say the wrong thing to the wrong person, be fully prepared for them to yank it. But I'm not afraid. And I'm trying to give a voice. I'm trying to get a meeting to give a voice to myself and give a voice to the amazing people with whom I work. And it's not being granted. And guess what? The hard part is you can't blame a corporation for that part. There are faces and names behind that. And this is not a judgment. It's a fact. And that's okay, but own up to that. Avoid me isn't going to... okay, great. Then I'll leave the company. I won't be around anymore. And I don't think you're going to feel any better, because I'm not trying to say these people are these upper level people are fantastic people. I'm trying to point out we're all in a system that is not working. But none of the 40-something-year-old men or women see me as an equal, because they've been playing I don't know, because if they did, I would at least get a response from the emails that I sent. But again, that happened with my family. That happened with so it's not, I get it. It's cool. I'm seeing a picture that a lot of others can't see. And this is at 59. This is almost at an hour. I need to end it right now. So those are all the drop points from 2019 Ironman Arizona. Overall, fantastic event. Very, very happy, very grateful. This is just constructive criticism.